Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today, I have a special treat for you. I'm going to tell you about 3 true horror stories at gas station. Are you ready to get scared? Let's begin. The first story is about the last customer. In the dim light of a fading sunset, the old gas station on Route 66 awaited its final customer. The air was thick with the scent of gasoline and old rubber, and the only sound was the distant howl of the wind. The attendant, Joe, was eager to close up for the night, his eyes heavy with sleep. As the clock struck midnight, a car pulled up, a sleek, black vintage model that seemed to absorb the light around it. The driver, a man shrouded in shadows, stepped out and approached Joe. His voice was a whisper, yet it carried an unnerving clarity. "Fill it up, please." Joe nodded, trying to shake off the chill that had settled in his bones. As he pumped the gas, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. He glanced around but saw no one. When he turned back, the man had vanished, leaving behind a wad of cash on the hood. Confused, Joe went inside to check the security cameras, only to find them static-filled at the moment the man should have appeared. The cash was old, the bills discontinued long ago. A sense of dread filled the station as Joe realized he was not alone. The lights flickered, and the temperature dropped. In the mirror's reflection, he saw the man standing behind him, but when he turned, there was nothing. The man's voice echoed, "Thank you, Joe. I've been waiting a long time for this." Joe ran outside, but the car was gone. The gas pump continued to run, the numbers on the meter spinning wildly. He tried to stop it, but it wouldn't budge. The numbers stopped at $66.66, and the station plunged into darkness. The next morning, the station was found abandoned. Joe was never seen again. They say the old gas station still waits for its last customer, and at midnight, you can hear the sound of an engine roaring as the pump hits $66.66. And so, the legend of the last customer at the gas station lives on, a ghostly tale that haunts Route 66, reminding travelers to be wary of where they stop for gas, especially when the night is dark and the road is empty. The second story is about the whispers of Pump 4. In the sleepy town of Eldridge, there was an old gas station known by locals as the last stop. It was the kind of place you'd only visit if you were desperate, its pumps worn and rusted, the neon sign flickering a ghostly welcome. Pump 4, in particular, had a reputation. Drivers whispered of hearing voices when they filled up there, a soft murmuring that seemed to come from the very air itself. They spoke of the whispers telling tales of past tragedies and future woes, a spectral warning to those who dared to listen. The story begins with a weary traveler named Jack, who, driving through Eldridge late one night, found his tank on empty. With no other option, he pulled into the last stop. The attendant, an old man with knowing eyes, gave a nod towards Pump 4 and muttered, "Be careful what you listen to." Jack, a skeptic, paid him no mind and began to fill his tank. That's when he heard it, a whisper, barely audible over the sound of the gasoline. It spoke of a woman, lost on the road years ago, her cries for help unanswered. It warned Jack of a curve in the road just ahead, where many had met their end. Shaken, Jack finished up and drove off, scoffing at the idea of haunted pumps. But as he approached the curve, a figure appeared in his headlights, a woman, her expression one of terror. Swerving to avoid her, Jack's car spun out of control, and he crashed into the very tree the whispers had warned him about. When the police found him the next morning, they shook their heads and spoke in hushed tones. "Another victim of Pump 4," they said. If only he'd listened to the whispers. And so, the legend of Pump 4 grew. Some say it's the spirit of the lost woman, trying to prevent others from sharing her fate. Others believe it's something more sinister, luring unsuspecting souls to their doom. But one thing is certain, if you ever find yourself at the last stop, be wary of the whispers of Pump 4. The third story is about the haunted convenience store. In the dim glow of the neon sign, the convenience store at the old gas station stood as a beacon for weary travelers. But locals knew better than to stop there after dark. They whispered about the strange occurrences that befell those who dared to enter, aisles that seemed to rearrange themselves, chilling drafts that came from nowhere, and the ghostly figure of a man in a dated uniform who appeared in the reflection of the freezer doors. The story began with a young couple, Mia and Alex, who were on a road trip across the country. As night fell, they found themselves on a desolate stretch of highway, their car's fuel gauge perilously low. The only sign of civilization was the flickering sign of the gas station ahead. Despite the unease that crept up their spines, they had no choice but to stop. As Alex filled the tank, Mia ventured inside the store to grab some snacks. The bell above the door jingled eerily as she entered. The air was stale, and the fluorescent lights flickered. She walked down the aisles, her footsteps echoing in the silence. That's when she noticed the peculiar chill that seemed to follow her. Turning the corner, she came face to face with the freezer section. And there, in the glass, was the reflection of a man. He wore an old-fashioned gas station attendant's uniform, his eyes hollow, his expression forlorn. She spun around, but no one was there. Heart racing, she grabbed a bag of chips and rushed to the counter. The cashier, an elderly man with a knowing look, rang up her items without a word. As she left, he called out, "Be careful on the road. Some journeys have strange ways of changing you." Back in the car, Mia told Alex about the reflection, but he laughed it off. They drove away, leaving the gas station behind. But as they continued their journey, they couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed them from the store. Objects in the car moved on their own, cold spots appeared and vanished, and at night, they heard the faint sound of a bell jingling, just like the one at the store's entrance. They realized too late that the haunted convenience store at the gas station was more than just a place. It was a gateway, and they had brought a piece of its curse with them. Now, they could only hope to find a way to end the haunting before it consumed them completely. And so, the legend of the haunted convenience store at the gas station grew, a cautionary tale for those who travel the lonely roads at night. These are just one of the many horror stories. There are many more out there, waiting to be discovered and told. Do you have any horror stories of your own? Share them in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more spooky content. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious. Bye.